Only her.
She had a comment.
Yep.
And then one more chance for public comment. Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and proceed. Did everyone get a chance to review the minutes from the January 28th meeting and any changes needed? Does anybody want to vote to approve? Maybe we should do a roll call and see who else here. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm backing up. Let's go ahead and do a roll call with and find out who else present. So I'll go ahead and start. Canada, Morrow County Public Health. Excuse me. Go ahead.
Mike Hughes, Board and Fire.
Kristen Bowles, Morrow County Sheriff's Office.
Valerie Ballard, Morrow County.
Paul Martin, Morrow County Health District.
Go ahead, Matt.
Matt Jensen, County Administrator.
Thank you.
Tamara Beardsley, Boardman PD, Boardman Fire.
Thanks, Tamara. Can't see who else. I don't know what happened there.
Adam McKay, my own fire.
Thanks, Adam. I think that's all the committee members that we had. Present?
I believe so.
All right. Any issues with the minutes from the last advisory meeting? Everybody get a chance to look them over?
I've gotten a chance to look them over. They look appropriate to me, so I'll make an motion that we accept the minutes as they've been recorded.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that.
I'll second.
Paul's made a motion. Adam seconded it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we'll move to accept the minutes from the last meeting. And we'll start out following the agenda with provider reports. Paul, you're up first on the agenda. Do you have a report to share out from Morrow County Health District?
I do. I'm getting it pulled up right now. So we had a fairly interesting incident with two people found outside of their residence in their backyard. One was deceased when they found him, and the other person was not responsive, but that's their baseline mentation. We chose this report because of the how complex the scene was, and then there was questions on the amount of time spent on scene organizing and coming up with treatment plans, and there was a little bit of pushback because they spent about 20 minutes on scene figuring things out before they started moving around, which I don't think was inappropriate by any means because it was very complicated. How do I share this so you guys can see the report too?
So if you can go down to towards the bottom of the screen, there's a share button there. If you click on that, then you should be able to have some things pop up. Valerie, are we allowing other people to share on the settings?
I'm not sure. Let's see. I think he should be able to share.
So if you click on share, it should say like screen 1, screen 2, or application windows.
I don't have anything that's, oh, wait, no, never mind. I do have something that says
Oh.
share.
Excellent.
Look at that.
It looks like it's working on it. Okay.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this was the report that was written up as far as what the crews found, how they went through treatment. So I don't think that there was anything that was abnormal from the treatment, but it was just a very unique kind of situation to find everybody in. You guys able to read that okay, or? Potentially.
Hmm. What was the end result of the call?
So the end result, so scroll down there a little bit so you can see the rest of it. Is that we had the one of the two patients we ended up pronouncing on scene, and we didn't start any treatment because of how critical the second person here was. It sounds like he has some advanced dementia to begin with, so understanding where his baseline was difficult for them. When last checked, he was in an ICU bed, and I think they had shipped him from Hermiston up to Cadleck. I'll double check my notes on that one. Yeah, it looks like he's up in the ICU at Cadleck at the moment.
So Paul, I'm curious, do you have the report of the last quarter of like we've reviewed before of all the response times, how long it took to get from the station to the scene?
Yes, I'm
That
sorry. I thought we were. My apologies then. Yes,
oh,
I have.
that's okay. Oh, okay.
I
think
was
that's
looking at
specific-
interesting calls prior to this
Oh,
too.
absolutely. No, thank you.
I was
for
like,
sharing. Just curious. I think that's
these
what
are
this
ones to bring
committee
up.
is. Yeah, this committee has usually kind of looked at that, and then I think if we show that report, it will kind of that incident will probably stand out. I'm guessing as being a long
Yeah.
time on scene, like you were saying. Yeah, yeah.
Um. Okay. Why is it not? Okay, I've got to extend my network out so I can pull it up on my laptop. Would you mind going to Boardman and then coming right back to me? To Mike?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, so mine is gonna be a verbal report. So, for the last quarter, ending April 1st, we ran, 142 911 dispatch calls, 24 interfacility transports. We use the NFPA standard for get out times out, so we're under, our 60-second mark, during the daytime. We're under our 90 seconds at night. We did some rearranging of the shifts, so we were struggling there on one shift, but we've got them back under control, so it happens. Looking at the report, we're around about 4 minutes and 30 seconds, travel time. Most, I would say the majority of our calls are within, Boardman proper, so that's why the response times are, remain fairly low. We did also have an unusual call. I didn't think to print all that out,
Yeah.
stuff that, but I'll just give you a quick rundown on that.
Sure.
If you want me to. Yeah. So we got dispatched to a reported abdominal pain because came in as a 26-year-old female with abdominal pain. We got to the scene and the patient had actually given birth to premature into the toilet and had been the infant was in the toilet the whole time. The medics pulled the infant out, had to break the bag, suction, did all that stuff. Assessed the infant and determined that that there was no palpable pulses, no recordable. It looked like artifact from the EKG I read, but so there was no electrical activity to speak of. So they called Boardman PD and asked, hey, what do you want us to do? And they're like, well, in this situation, we prefer you transport the patient and the infant together to the hospital. So that's what we did. Once we got to the hospital staff did look over the infant and decided that it was alive and started ALS measures on the infant to no avail. Consequently, because of the uniqueness of that kind of call and, obviously the ambulance staff was highly stressed because,
Sure.
no telling how long the baby been in, just hanging out in the toilet and all that. But we're doing a case review on that because we like to share that kind of information with all of our staff. So our medical director contacted the hospital. I'm not sure what kind of connection was made there, but anyways, kind of unusual, especially when you think you're going to abdominal pain and you end up, have a childbirth. So it's
Yeah,
kind
wow.
of a different little thing, but nevertheless, that was the outcome. And kind of like what Paul's saying there, I think our staff did everything they could. But again, we're going to review it and see what kind of lessons learned kind of
Yeah,
thing. So
unique situation. Just curious, do you know, how many weeks along the baby? What was it, a full term?
no, it wasn't. I want to say it was around 24 to 26 weeks, and the mother had an 8-month-old at home. Oh yeah, it was a
goodness.
bad scene.
Oh,
And
goodness.
the boyfriend was not happy because he didn't know she was pregnant. So it was a whole thing. It was, when you add all that together, it's a pretty high stress. Paul
Oh.
probably's been a medic a long time. He could probably tell you all sorts of those kind of stories, but nevertheless, you know, again, my staff was pretty hard on themselves. We had a younger EMT, a very experienced paramedic. But it's one of those things that happen. So
Very unusual
Yep.
situation. Well, I'll just say this to both entities. Thank you for everything that you do. because-
I'll just add to that, the exact dispatch was, I think, 28-year-old female, vaginal bleeding, not pregnant. And
Oh, and then you get there.
no one, and then I've heard potentially 28 weeks or
Oh.
30, 32 weeks, but not quite sure. No one was really able to tell me. And it was a good lesson from the PD stance too, at like what gestational age you need a DME for and stuff. So it was a learning thing for everyone.
Yep.
Imagine so.
So if I wouldn't, I mean, both this issue and the one that Paul was talking about, but I mean, these are traumatic calls.
Very traumatic.
What's your protocols, both with the health district and the Boardman Fire to how do you help the crews cope afterwards on those kind of things? I mean, it's almost PTSD
Exactly.
type trigger
Yeah.
things.
So we have a partnership with CCS So whenever these type of really unusual type or traumatic calls are, we call them immediately.
Good.
And although they're on shift, we take them off response and push up our other crew to handle calls. And then they have a debrief with a counselor that's trained in that kind of first responder debriefings and that sort of thing. I don't know what is said in those. Those are pretty confidential. But the guy that we use is off the charts. Because our crews come back ready to go back to work in
Wow.
most cases. So I don't know what that person's saying. I really don't. Like I said, it's very confidential. It's with him and the people that are directly involved in the incident. But I'm pretty impressed having them in our pockets to be able just because it was, I don't know, at shift change that at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm calling this guy saying, hey, I have a crew here. I need them debriefed. One of them's going home. The other one is still working for another 24 hours. So, but they are awesome. Yeah.
I can say from our standpoint, which I'm sure in more detail, not detail, but whoever's involved, because like dispatch goes to a lot of them too, especially the deceased baby ones. This one, we didn't know there was a baby, so it wasn't as traumatic for us.
Right.
Like the ones where the baby's dead and they were screaming at us.
Sure.
You start with, okay, I answered 911, this is what happened. And this is what I did. This is everything I could do. And then I sent my deputies and paged out. And then the first person on scene says, this is what I did. This is why I did what I did. And you explain why, because sometimes like, why didn't you do this? Why you were there? Why didn't you do it? Now it explains why you weren't told this. You didn't know this. This was when we got there. It was this, not this. kind of thing. And
Yeah, like Tamara was.
you don't have to say anything when you do it. You can skip it. We always encourage them to go to it, but listen. You don't have to talk, but if you do talk, it could help that one person just a little bit that's having the worst time of, our 22-year-old deputies that go to this that think that they're Superman and they're not.
Yeah.
And they kind of get reality checks and then they understand everybody did everything, but this is what was meant my spiritual thing. This is what was meant to happen. Yeah. So, I mean, everybody gets a chance to speak if they want to, but usually it goes in chronological order so that from start to finish. That's the ones I've been involved in. That's how
Yeah, those
we go.
bigger ones, exactly. But like I said, with a 2-person, it's just those 2 persons.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that counselor's telling them.
Right. Oh, no.
No idea what but like I said, whatever he's telling them, for the most part, puts them back on track. We might
CCS
keep
has
them off for a
amazing
couple of hours
counselors.
and let them hang out with the crews and, basically, be told the same thing. Hey, you did everything. You did everything. What did you not do that you should have?
Besides armchair quarterbacking, which I should have done as well.
Correct.
Everybody can.
Yeah,
say
yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
just
what?
run that through.
But anyways, that's what we do. I'm not sure. what
Wonder,
the officer
do
does.
you check back in with them, like, in case people are like maybe having ongoing nightmares? or
Yeah, so
something?
the counselor is pretty good about calling myself back and say, hey, how's your crew doing? And to this point yet, I haven't had to say, hey, I need you to come back and follow up with so-and-so.
You can tell they're struggling. or
There
something.
is
Something
a
that you
pretty
look
big
for.
separation between myself and the line staff because there's other supervisors in between there.
Mhm.
But again, it's not like they're unsupervised. It's like,
Yeah.
have a good day. We'll catch up. But no, there's,
Fixed to go.
other people. Yeah.
You're fixed, you're done.
Yeah. I mean, I would feel more, I'd be more concerned about the deputies because they get back in their car and they're pretty much by themselves, right?
Mhm.
So, but our crews have other.
We
people
have
to
each other.
rely
We have
on.
the peer support as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And then the, one of our counselors, he calls and checks in with the supervisor and tells you, watch for this, watch for
Oh,
that.
good, yeah.
And make sure that if they start talking about this, call me immediately. I'm checking in with them. I'm assuming,
Uh-huh.
again, that, well, that's private. So, but there's a big peer support program that's quite a few counties involved that help each other out.
Yeah, I'm glad that's recognized. What about you, Paul? Do you have a protocol for your staff
So
during a major incident?
yeah, no, make sure I wasn't unmuted. So we use the same program because we partner up with CCS as well. They've also actually come out to the hospital and we've done some mental health first aid training, which was a couple of days of watching out for warning signs and getting a little bit more into that. It was really good training. If nothing else, just to remind us that, you know, we're just as vulnerable as the patients that we see.
Exactly.
But it's a very similar process. We go through the same thing as Boardman's going to do. We'd go through the same thing that UCFD1 does. And it's pretty
Yeah.
standard for us to pull them off of the line and make sure that they're okay before sending them back out. That's, yeah.
It's good to hear that you're looking out for each other. You
Yep.
have to. Yeah. Yeah. Did you have anything else to add
No.
on your report? And your staffing is stable, or you have open?
We are fully staffed.
Fully staffed. Okay. Fantastic.
Actually, since you're talking, you asked about it, I have 3 in-house guys that we sent to paramedic school. They take their school test on Thursday. And then from there, they're released to take their national registry test. So I should have 3 additional paramedics here in the next, hopefully 2 weeks.
Oh,
So, yeah.
where do they have to go to take that test? They do it online?
No, correct me, Paul, if I'm wrong with this. So the national registry test now, it's just a written test, but they have to go to a specific location where it's very highly scrutinized and security and all this other stuff. But they have to go to a physical facility. So,
Like taking nursing state board.
yeah, and I think
Back in the day.
the closest one is up in Tri-Cities or Walla Walla or something.
Oh, okay.
Yakima's got one,
Yakima,
Kennewick's
that's
got
what it is.
one, and Walla
Alright.
Walla's got one. But yeah, they've got to go into a testing site, the Pearson View testing sites. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
best of luck to them.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, we're pretty happy.
Department. Yeah. Yeah. Paul, are you ready with your?
Sure.
Speaking of-
So up to date, we've run 179 calls for service. We've transported 120 people, and that is up through April 1st is what we're looking at.
Mhm.
My average response times in there during the day is staying under the 60 seconds for both locations. At night, I'm closer to that a 2-minute mark. Which we need to work on that a little bit because unlike other departments, we're running the 12-hour shift, so they should have that expectancy that they're out the door in the same amount of time. Looks like of those calls, we've only done 8 of those would have been inter-facility calls. The rest of them would have been 911 services.
Do you have a breakdown between Hepner and Urgan? By chance? Sorry,
Yeah.
just curious, more than anything.
No, once you plan it all out, they're about the same. Although Irrigan tends to be slightly more. I pull them
Right,
back
I
up.
think so. Yeah.
So roughly 90 calls per station, so to speak.
Roughly, yes. Let me
Yeah.
get back over to it. Let's see.
Sorry, buddy.
There was-
Oh,
No,
I wasn't
you're
trying to cause you
fine.
your grief.
105 of those calls were up in Irrigan. So 74 of the calls would have been down in Hepner.
Cool. Thank you.
So over the course of a year, they tend to balance out between the 2 locations.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. And Chief Hughes. Anybody have any more discussion around any of that? So in the January meeting, we formed a subcommittee to come up with a ambulance response times map. And I think Matt, are you prepared to share those He came up with some maps and response time. The goals, is he there?
Yes. Um,
I don't know if you want to share what that subcommittee came up with.
well, we did, so as we went through, and I'm just trying to get my video on. We attempted to have two subcommittee meetings, and for one reason or not, weren't able to pull them in. And so, but I can report on what we found out and show the maps that we're looking at. With a little more direction from the ASA committee, I think we can get a direction to go to. One of the things is from OHA that we received was that they were concerned about a response time map. And let me just show what we provided. And this was based on the previous ASA. It was set up as a 20-minute response time. Was what the ASA document did. So you're seeing this map that says 20-minute
Yep.
response?
Yes.
And so I'll zoom in a little bit to make it a little bit easier to see. And so pretty much for our ASA ambulance service plan, we showed 20 minutes from each of the locations that ambulances were set up. So we have this as the green areas. You're pretty familiar with that. That's the 20-minute dispatch. I did ask, why is it right next to Hefner's not a 20-minute? And it's because nobody lives there, and so they don't list that, and it's quite hilly. As we went through and looked at OHA said, well, we'd like to have a little more diversity on what your response time is. And I found the OAR that they have set up, which is 333-200-0080. And that specifies 5 different response times. However, it's dependent on population. And the interesting thing is their population starts at an 8-minute response time for urban populations over 50,000 people.
Yep.
The next one is suburban, which is 10-mile radius of that urban area, or a density greater than 1,000 per square mile, which is a 15-minute response time. We have like Oregon. A portion of Oregon is the only place that we have 1,000 per square mile in our county. I think there's some places in Boardman we can get now with the new construction.
It's like Boardman.
Yeah, rural 10-mile radius within those population density greater than 6 per square mile is a 45-minute response time.
Yeah,
that would be most of our county. The frontier population density less than 6 per square mile, which is a good swath of our county, would be 2 hours. And then your search and rescue, no year-round residents, no established response time. I don't know where to go with OHA because they just said we'd like to see more variable response times, and this is what we found was these brackets on 5. So I challenged Stephen to give us a map that shows a little more variety, kind of based on not the definitions, but timed responses. And I've got that map I'd like to share, and I can email this out to Valerie and Robin to send out to the other people. Let me just pull this up. So we provided a map that showed 8, 15, and 45-minute. So 8 was the smallest one that they had in the OAR, which does limit it compared to what our 20-minute response time was. Yep, let me get rid of that. It makes it largely within the immediate areas of the cities. And if you notice, it shrinks down what Hepner's response time is, because then you start getting up in the hills. Then we have in the green a 15-minute response time, which makes it smaller than our 20-minute response time for all three ASAs. And then we have a, oh geez, get off that tool. And then we have a 45-minute time frame, which shows most of our county, populated areas of our county are within that time response. Areas outside that aren't in those three colors would be considered rural or not inhabited for year-round habitation. One of the things that we had all three ASAs represented on a single map. This could be acceptable as part of our ASP. The one thing that we could do is, and Stephen just has a little technical thing, or I would have had it tonight, is we could separate it out to just show the specific ASAs. So we would show the map for the northern ASA and show their response times, the northeast area with their response time, and then the south with their response times. I think, well, these response times put us into the same consideration as the metro areas. Really, I don't think we have a problem responding to these areas within that time. I'd like to have feedback from the providers on that. And just from the committee, if you'd like to have a combined map like this, or if the divided by the three different ASAs would be preferable, so we can have a specific understanding between the three ASAs. And so with that, I'd ask for first off just feedback from Chief Hughes and Paul, if you have any questions or concerns based on the 8, 15, and 45. I know they're kind of arbitrary for our county, and to see if you have any issue with the maps in that way. So,
No, I actually like what you've done, to be honest with you, because you have reduced the times. I have no issue with it, having separate ASAs. This map is fine. As long as we're meeting OHA's, well, in this case, we're beating their standard. So, I think it's pretty cool what you guys did, to be honest with you. So, yeah, thank you.
Paul,
Well,
what do you think?
I agree. I think any of the timeframes are easily met within our county and our staffing between the different agencies. I'm happy with the one map just as it is. I'm not sure we need to break it down.
Yeah.
Okay. General Committee, any questions or concerns with the map?
Nope.
Yes.
Hearing none. If we'd be okay with this, I would ask if we would have a vote by the committee on whether we advance this and give a recommendation to the BOC to amend the ASA to adopt this map per OHA's request when the ASP was initially approved.
Mr. Jensen, before you guys actually vote, can we the only change, now that I look at it a little more closely, can we change the old Boardman Fire Station? We're at,
Yeah, it says old.
we're
Yeah.
at 911 to tell, just for,
Yeah.
the sake of having to come back here in 3 months and ask for you to change it.
Yeah.
I think
Appreciate that. I saw that say old Boardman Fire.
yes,
So-
and we can definitely get that changed.
Okay, that's it. Sorry about that. Sorry for the
No problem.
interruption.
The only thing and a point that people might point out is, of course, we've got the QRT teams in Ione. I think the health district at times has a QRT team based out of Lexington, and then of course at the two timber areas. Unfortunately, the ASP only counts ambulances, and so we don't have those included, though I do know that those are still available. So if anybody questions that from the health district side, Paul, or from the community, they're just counting ambulance locations, fully staffed ambulance locations.
No, that's fine. I'm not
Okay.
worried about it.
All right. So with getting the correct location for the Boardman fire, if there's not any other items, if there could be a vote with that adjustment, we'd be happy to get a map ready for the BOC to adjust.
Anybody? And to accept this map
I'll make a motion to accept the map
with the change of the board.
with the change of the Boardman Old Fire Station to the correct fire station.
Okay. Kirsten move to accept this map to present. Who's that, Tamara? Thank you, Tamara. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept this map with the Boardman fire change to present to BOC. All those in favor? Signify by saying aye.
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 Does anyone oppose? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Do that. Thank you, Matt, for that.
Spell accept.
Huh?
I'm staring at the word accept and I can't spell it.
Oh. Paul, I'm sorry, I'm backing up. I forgot to ask you about your staffing situation. Are you currently fully staffed or you have open positions? or-
I currently have 2 open EMT positions and 2 open paramedic positions. I'm in the process of hiring both 1 EMT and 1 paramedic. So that'll drop that down to 1 and 1. I also have 1 person who finished their EMT class that is sitting for their national registry test this week. And I've got 2 others that are starting their EMT program in June. So I've got those ones coming down. And I've got 3 people who are in their paramedic training, but they're a little bit behind Mike's guys. My nearest one's probably he'll get his help before I'll get my help. My nearest one will be finishing up his program in July. And then the next 2 to finish after that won't be until September. So
Sorry, I'm jumping around.
Oh, no, you're
Oh,
good. I'm tracking
keep up
it.
with- Taking the
This isn't
minutes.
my first
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Probably like, dang it, Roger, jumping all over the place. Okay. Alrighty, so moving along on the agenda, Chief Hughes had presentation.
Well, actually,
request.
a request, so,
Okay, yeah.
and I don't mean to belittle anybody, but I am gonna kind of go back so that, my recommendation makes sense. I'm requesting that this board make a recommendation to the county commissioners, okay? So, as you guys are well aware of, the county is responsible for assuring that there's ambulance service countywide. When they took on that, they developed the 3 ASAs. And during the proposal section, we were required to give 3 separate proposals on, or give a proposal for the sections of the ASA we wanted to provide service for. So, and I don't think anybody here, well, besides Mr. Jensen,
Matt,
was in that meeting. So I'm just gonna kind of recap. During my proposal to the county, we proposed, the county pay us 500,000 for Hepner, 500,000 for Irrigan, and 275 for Boardman. The 275 was determined that based on kind of a discount, which Mr. Jensen was very kind to kind of reiterate that to the entire group we were proposing to, that if we got 1 or more additional ASAs, that we would be willing to give the county a discount instead of saying 500, 500, 500. So, as it came out, although we did, win not only our, jurisdiction, but, and it wasn't by much. Mr. Jensen, you might have to help me out. I think we won by 1.5 to take Irrigan. It was recommended by that group that we provide service in Irrigan. Mr. Jensen, which had the authority to do, he wrote that and recommended to the board that the health district provide service in Heppner and Irrigan. So, long story short, we had an expectation, but with all the turmoil and everything was going on, we decided to take a back seat. We kind of expected that our fee would be adjusted, because again, we were giving a fee based on having more than one service area. So, that's what brings me here, this evening, is that, basically, and I'm actually kind of bummed that Emily's not here because we didn't agree on much, Paul, but this we agreed on. It costs about $1.1 million per ambulance to provide service. And so, we are the busiest single resource ambulance, and we're being compensated the least amount. The other thing that the health district has over us is that they have a levy, so they can offset costs. And so what I'm here to ask this committee is to give a recommendation that each ASA is treated identically. So if the health district's getting $600,000 per ambulance, we feel that we should be getting exactly the same. We don't have a levy to help offset costs, but like the health district, we do rely on reimbursements from billing. It's still, the health district has a little bit more advantage. I'm not going to speak on their behalf. But for us, we're operating at a loss. I think the health district has a little better advantage in that they can dip into their levy to help offset some of those costs. I think that it's important also as part of this change that I'm asking for is that if I negotiate something that's beneficial to the entire county, then it doesn't matter if it's me or the health district, Heppner Fire, or whoever providing the service, they should automatically get that benefit as well. And I'll give you an example of that. And luckily, Mr. Martin was sitting right next to me when this occurred. So he and I were having a conversation with the dispatch group and Mr. Jensen about changing how we were running calls on what frequencies and that sort of thing. So I'm going to say that I facilitated and brought to the attention to Mr. Jensen that, hey, you're responsible for ambulance service. Therefore, you're responsible for getting us to the call. And he agreed on that. So to his credit, Mr. Jensen's credit, he picked it because it's a county funded dispatch center. He picked up that cost for both agencies. And that was a benefit for us, and it was a benefit for the health district. And so I believe strongly that whoever's providing service, the contracts need to be identical. And I believe the health districts is $600,000 per ambulance. They're paid in advance to provide the service. We're paid after the fact. So they're getting their money up front, and we have to wait for our money to come in. And again, we're a smaller agency running a lot of calls, and I just think that we're a countywide provider, all of us, the two of us, and it should be equal. And so I'm asking that, I just want to make sure I covered all my, yeah, there was one more advantage, I think, to agreeing to this recommendation that goes before the commissioners, is that it will kind of highlight what this committee is about. And what I mean by that is the county can take advantage of the fact that, hey, this committee recognized that there was um, a, a difference or inequality or whatever the word. And we want everybody working together doing, and we're doing that well. I think Paul would agree. We've asked them to come for help when we need it. And I think this is an opportunity to bridge those gaps and showcase the committee saying, hey, we recognized that there's some differences and we want it to be the same globally. And so that's why I come here today. I think the proper channels would be that you give a recommendation to Mr. Jensen and he brings it forth to the county commissioners. I think it'd be better coming from him and not myself, but that's what I'm here for. I'm asking for a recommendation from this committee to make the 3 ASA contracts identical in every fashion. And it's what's fair and it makes the most sense. And I'm willing to answer any questions that anybody has to make sure that they have a clear understanding what I'm trying to accomplish.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'm just. Is there any discussion around Chief Hughes's request from the committee?
And I'd just like to point out that the levy that the health district has is not an EMS specific levy.
No, that's
It's-
correct.
Yeah, it's for the entire health district, as we talked about the hospitals, the clinics, home health and hospice. Everybody kind of pulls a little bit from that levy. It's not an
Yeah, and
EMS
that's
specific levy.
right. And I didn't mean to insinuate that it was just for EMS. But they do have an advantage that, that they could use that. And I really don't want to do tit for tat kind of stuff. The health district and us have been getting along fabulously. But a major portion of that levy is paid by boardmen, taxpayers.
Gotcha.
And so again, I just feel like this is an opportunity to showcase this group, and we're always looking for ways to mend the north-south divide. And I think this is just another opportunity. It's not a huge one. It's not people aren't gonna go, wow, that's but it might be another, feather in the cap, so to speak, to move forward. So trying to bridge those gaps. But anyways.
Thank you. I appreciate your input. Anyone else have anything to add? Um, I'm not familiar with the exact dollar amount. I'm thinking Matt is and exactly how to present that to the commissioners, but
Yeah,
do we need
my
to
recommendation,
draft something?
what I would
specifics or-
recommend that you first that you do a formal motion and something along the lines as a motion. How do we put
To
this?
draft,
To
to
reevaluate.
draft,
To
a
draft,
proposal.
Yeah.
to the commissioners.
so that they are together. I don't know the exact dollars but whatever the health district's getting, we should get the same. And that's all I'm saying. And so I think the numbers the motion could say something along the lines. We'd like to make an adjustment to the ASA that equalizes reimbursement countywide, something along that. So it's not pointing at us, it's not pointing at the health district. It's just saying, yeah. So that's just my 2 cents.
Just to point out, the compensation for the south and northeast is not the same. And
Oh,
so
so
there's
we were
not
misinformed.
consistency between the items. I think this with Chief Hughes, if I could just opine, I could write up a report and review that with this ASA committee to make sure you're proceeding with full information based on the contracts and RFA that was responded to.
Yeah, yeah, I like I said, I just feel that, you know, we need to be closer together than further apart.
Yeah. So my thought is for this committee to make a decision, we kind of need all the information so that we can make an appropriate decision. So Matt, are you able to pull together all the information for this committee to review?
Not for this meeting, but
Yeah.
I can do
No,
it.
I didn't mean like right now, no.
And if we wanted to meet, you know, sooner than the 3 months, I'd be happy to prepare that.
That's what I was kind of wondering. We meet quarterly, so I don't.
Yeah, and that's, you know,
Be stretched out that long.
the reason why I'm here is because obviously everybody's working on their budget. I would like to have some, be able to put whatever that number looks like into my budget. And I'm sure the county would like to have it added to their budget. So if respectfully, if I could ask to meet sooner, so that,
Yeah.
you know, I'd be very appreciative.
So if we're able to get that information and present it before the committee within the next month, maybe?
I
Does
think,
that sound reasonable?
Mr. Jensen knows those commissioners better than anybody.
Well, they meet every 2 weeks, so it
Yeah, exactly.
stretches it out anyway, so is that
I
too
mean-
soon, or would that be feasible, or no?
I mean, I have all the information. It'd just be pulling it together for
Yeah,
discussion by this body. So, I mean, I could do it in 2 weeks time frame. No problem.
and what way would be best to present it to the committee? Via email, calling together an extra meeting?
I would say that I could pull together a packet by the 8th to send out to the meeting, and I would have um, a presentation and review on the 13th, if that would work out with people's schedules.
So schedule another committee meeting on May 13th,
Yes.
which is a Tuesday. Would be 2 weeks from today. Would members of this committee be open to that? Are you available for that? Do we want another evening meeting or?
Sorry, guys.
Just
I just appreciate Mr. Jensen willing to put this up so quickly, so.
Yeah,
Well, for me, evenings are better than for this additional meeting.
a Tuesday meeting at 6, does that work for everybody? It would be shorter, of course.
But it's just
than-
one person, so if the day I can figure out a way.
Does that work for folks?
That works for me.
We can send out a calendar invite when we have all the details. I just wanted to make sure that people are going to be available. Does that work for you, Adam?
I believe I have baseball that night.
I'm not sure where Julie Gregory was tonight. She accepted the meeting, but because if we get it presented and have to make a vote on it, we want to make sure we have a quorum present to that give us enough folks. Matt, Tamara, Paul, me. What is this? With Adam not being able to be present, does that give us enough people
What about the
to
rest of
make a vote on that?
how many people are on this committee?
So we have 5 fire representatives, 1 from each provider,
Yeah, Eric Chick isn't here either. He's usually.
So if we
and
give
Tom
him-
Roberts isn't either.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah,
it can make the other meeting.
the special meeting.
It doesn't have to be us specifically. Do they have one of those like whole doodles for doodle?
I can send out a doodle poll.
That's what it's called, okay.
To see how many people would be available at that time.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Cool.
We'll send, Valerie's gonna send out a doodle poll to everybody to see who all can be available for that meeting.
Okay.
On the 13th, and once we get a response from that, we'll send out a calendar invite. That sounds like a good plan. That we're,
Well, like I said, I'd just like to thank this committee for giving me the opportunity, and Mr. Jensen, thank you for being willing to bust this out so quickly. I do appreciate it.
is there any further discussion?
I'm gonna take that as a no.
Yeah. Hearing none, I'm once again gonna thank everybody for number one, being here and for all the service you provide to our county. Very much appreciate every one of you. So with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.